Ladies and gentlemen, big ferries news.
Hey, kia ora koutou, e te whānau. Welcome back to another edition of Big Hairy News. Chewie, sir, good evening to you.
Good evening, Pat. It is me, Chewie.
What's crack-a-lackin'? What's going on?
Not a lot. This is a brief interlude into being angry about politics, and then probably back into Battlefield 6 again.
How's it going? How's the game going?
Violent and loud, just how I like it.
That's what she said. Oh no, that's not because that's what she said. Violent and loud. We shouldn't do that. Let's take that one back. Yeah, everyone's probably still hanging with Bomber at the moment. They'll be back here shortly. What's going on the show tonight? Well, let me tell you shortly. Technically, I'm not even looking at my screen right now. I'm trying to open another thing up that I forgot to open up. So, just talk amongst yourselves for a second there. Just talk amongst yourselves for a second. We have an interesting show coming up tonight because we've got a conversation around Te Pāti Māori that actually, it's, I don't know if it's serious or not, but it will certainly be made by the government to, thank you. Thank goodness. We were just sitting here waiting. Being made by the government, it will be made by the government to be the most serious issue facing New Zealand today, that Te Pāti Māori could be in government with Labour if you, the voter, let them. So there's some breathlessness coming, that's for sure. They talk about if you're explaining, you're losing, and unfortunately there's some explaining to do. So I don't quite know how to handle all of that, but we'll have a look at it tonight. The other thing is we've been told we're getting our ferries. Ironically, Chewie, there is no, the one question that wasn't asked, not to put you on the spot, I know this is a terrible way to broadcast, but if there was one question you were going to ask Mr. Peters when he said, we've got new ferries, would you have one most important question to ask him? What would you ask him?
How much?
'Cause mine would be how much.
Yeah.
Because
they won't answer. They'll just go, "Oh, it's commercially sensitive."
Yeah, they won't be able to do that.
I think it's more politically sensitive than commercially sensitive, to be honest.
We'll get to the numbers later on, but we'll give this government some grace. We'll save it. I'm going to keep my powder dry. I'm going to save it. Here's something for you as well. If you are expecting some merch, a t-shirt, I said last night that it would be all packed and off to the courier today. Sorry, I had a busy day. I had some children issues at school to sort out, so I didn't get around to that. So best laid plans of mice and men, and I'll probably get to it tomorrow. But speaking of merch, Chewie, the tried and true, the Pat and Chewie tried and true. Everyone loves the Pat and Chewie. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe next week we'll see how the planning goes. The new Pat and Chewie might be coming out. You ready for it?
Over a dollar.
The new Pat and Chewie coming out, looking perfect. There's the Pat.
Only for true fans.
There's the Pat and Chewie, and there's the Pat and Chewie Mark II. So we will probably also have some Nala t-shirts and some Ilva t-shirts, and I think that's a pretty. And then we'll have to get M's cat in there. Has Magenta got any pets? If Magenta had a pet, it would be something crazy like a lizard or something, That would be something Magenta would have.
I reckon axolotl.
Axolotl, Mexican walking fish. Yeah, that's probably it. So there you go. There's the tried and true. There's the old school, and there's the new school. So that will be coming to you as merch probably next week. But we'll see. We've got a whole bunch of brown t-shirts left over from the last run, and I actually thought that because of the dogs colouring, on a rust, they call it rust t-shirt, would look pretty dope actually. So that's probably, I'm guessing that's what it's going to be. But our t-shirt supplier just phoned me out of the blue today, and they've got a whole bunch of new colors. So we might actually have a look into that as well, see what the new colors the new suppliers have got, and we'll see how that goes. So yeah, that got done today. While we're here, let's also remind you that even though the merch store has been very, very, very busy the last few weeks with you guys getting out there to support Palestine, we are going to talk a bit about Palestine tonight and about the ceasefire. I'll say it now, but I'm sure to repeat myself. If people aren't aware, and I'm sure you're all aware, people watching, because you're very smart people, a ceasefire is not a lasting peace deal. A ceasefire is a space in the fighting to then sign a peace deal. And at the moment, what's happening is there's lots of decisions being made, none of which involve Hamas, and only some of which involve Israel. I think there was a signing today of a bunch of treaties around the Abraham Accords or something, and Israel or Hamas weren't there. Neither of them were there. And remember, and we'll come back to this, Mr. Netanyahu has said very clearly, nothing will stop them eliminating Hamas. Hamas has not been eliminated, which means, being accurate, a peace deal, a ceasefire, will not stop Israel eliminating Hamas. How are they going to eliminate Hamas? Well, chances are it will be bombings. The demilitarization of Gaza has been, Trump has said this is going to happen. No one's talked to Hamas about that yet. The tunnels are going to be blown up by IDF soldiers. Hamas hasn't agreed to that yet. So I don't want to be a bit of a negative Nelly, negative Nancy, negative numbnuts, but this is about as close to a knife edge as we can get, Whānau. This is not the done deal that some are trumpeting. This is not the done deal. So there is still a ways to go. And also there's some research out today, Chewie, a poll done by the Taxpayers, not a union, where they found out that 1 in 7 respondents have said violence is probably needed to put New Zealand back on track.
I saw this.
Yeah.
And I was just like, why the fuck would you poll for that?
Because they were hoping for an outcome, would be my guess.
Yeah, it's very much so. Seems to be like, it just seemed to be a really odd question to 1 in 7. Jesus.
Yeah, I probably overstated it. Have said would be okay with it. It's them saying it might be needed, may be needed to get New Zealand back on track. And look, basically since January 6th, 3 years ago, that idea has become more as a part of our daily political conversation than ever before. It's been put into the political conversation. You know, it's a little bit like sometimes it's like the song Golden, Chewie. No one knows about it. It becomes popular amongst a segment of primarily kids, and now the whole world knows about it. You know, no one thought about this kind of political violence really en masse. Trump has basically enabled it to happen, has found an outlet for it in America. Now everybody's thinking about it. You know, it's like when you buy a VW, all of a sudden, oh my God, I never knew there were so many VWs driving around Dunedin, because you start to see what you hear. Craig Rennie, again, we said this last night, he did a podcast a couple of weeks ago about why do New Zealanders feel so bad about the economy, and it's because this government has been telling them for 3 years how bad the economy is. You keep getting told how bad the economy is, you go, economy's bad, even if it's not so bad for you. So yeah, this political violence, I squarely lay it at the feet of Donald Trump, even though it's the Western world. The Western world has not had this as a realistic political strategy for a very long time. And they've got it now because of Trump and because of what happened January 6th and around. That's where it's come from. Anywho. Yeah, so a bunch of things. Ferries as well. Talked about ferries and also Te Pāti Māori. We might start. I was just watching the end of Bomber's show. I didn't catch the whole show. I'm not here tomorrow night. Pink Pat's filling in. I heard someone say Pink Pat the other day, so thought I'd use that. And I'm not telling you have to, but I'm sure that if it warrants it, maybe you'll find something in Bomber's show to have a look at tomorrow night. Should it be? But I was watching at the very end, and it's Claudette is it Hauiti, the journalist. Mm-hmm. Bomber just asked her at the very end of the conversation if she thought Trump deserved the Nobel Peace Prize. Yeah, the thing is, right, the Greens have said he doesn't have any claim to, being the reason for the peace. But whether he is or he isn't, he now would have to keep his nose clean for 365 days to be thought about to be nominated next year. Can anyone imagine that happening? Trump he's invading his own cities with military at the moment. I even if this did happen, if it went from a ceasefire to a lasting peace, and the lasting peace being till at least 365 days, all of the things, all of the balls that would need to be juggled, all the plates that are spinning right now, I don't see how they stay up in the air for 365 days for him to even be thought about it. If some people out there give him credit for this, Chewie.
If the Nobel people don't have a rule in their criteria that just says, like, eliminate the candidate if they have waged an offensive military action in the last 24 months. Just, like, you can't get, like, Obama shouldn't have got a peace prize as well.
He did nothing.
You've waged a war. You've had a campaign of drone strikes. You have... You've called in airstrikes on boats and just told us that it's drug dealers, and you're posturing to invade Venezuela for some reason.
You bombed Iran, for God's sake. You sent missiles into Iran. Peace prize.
You're supplying a country that is currently doing a great big genocide. No peace prize for you, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with you,
for obvious reasons. You giant, fragile man baby. No.
Yeah, but what you've just said is Obama shouldn't have got one. I agree with you. That means the amount of it is political. Shouldn't get one. Won't get one. Another question.
Henry Kissinger. One of modern history's most evil men.
Yeah.
Got a Nobel Peace Prize. So... Maybe this is my naivete. Okay, the Nobel Peace Prize should go to peaceful people. And historically, it hasn't.
They possibly would have given one to Hitler, because when he topped himself, that's kind of stopped the war. So Hitler is responsible for stopping a war. So maybe
it'll go with that other thing that Trump wants, the Time Person of the Year. Hitler got that as well.
Yeah. Although in Time's defense, they never say it's recognition for good things. They just say have had an impact on the world, and you can't argue that, can you? When it comes to little H man. So let's have a look at this. I've only caught the first 30 seconds of Claudette's response, but it was a pretty good response. So I thought let's just watch this, not quite live, and we'll cut out at some stage and then move on with the show. So should Donald Trump get the Nobel Peace Prize?
Claudette, does Donald deserve the Nobel Peace Prize?
Ka hore. At no level, in no way, in any way, shape or form. And this is all just theatrics. This is all performative. That seems to be a bit of a buzzword at the moment. This is all theatrics, and you cannot possibly think that this guy is a guy that wants long-lasting peace. I mean, his country sells arms. His country bombs people, and you want to give the leader of a country that sells arms.
Imagine the store that sells all the chocolate jelly beans. That's their thing, and they decide that they're going to put a law in place that makes it illegal to buy chocolate jelly beans. Would they do that? I mean, a lasting peace, so you can stop making hundreds of billions of dollars of sales a year because it's lasting peace. It's not a particularly good business plan.
That kills babies and bombs other countries that kill babies and women. A peace prize?
Preach. John.
Both wars, Ukraine as well as Palestine, could have been averted if the United States had applied a no-fly zone over both. As soon as you depower
Right.
either drones or
Yeah.
air power, you've now got...
That's interesting. I've never thought of a no-fly zone involving drones. Like when I think no-fly zone, I think planes and helicopters, but I've never considered in this modern. I mean, we saw Ukraine fight back against Russia by spending a few $1,000s on drones that did hundreds of millions of dollars with damages to their planes, but. No-fly zone includes drones. That's interesting. Interesting thought. I wonder if you could do that. I mean, would a drone going at 100 feet off the ground even be picked up to know that you were in a fly zone?
So yeah, this is something that's been suggested before, that a lot of the damage off the front line in Ukraine to civilian population centers and their energy infrastructure and that sort of thing, they've been hit with long-range drones, hypersonic missiles launched by bombers, all of that sort of stuff. And the suggestion quite often comes up of like, well, if NATO or the US and NATO enforced a no-fly zone of both parties, so Ukraine can't take their fighters up either. Then that just takes some of the heat out and takes the civilians mostly out of the firing line there.
Do missiles are missiles included in the no-fly zone? Like if it's a no-fly zone, are you allowed? So nothing can fly. Missiles can't fly either.
Yeah, and it would be one of those things that would take some of Ukraine's punch away as well. Like they couldn't be doing their deep strikes on Russian energy infrastructure, fuel reserves, and that sort of thing. But when you're sitting there going, well, here's the choice. We can just fight on the front line and know that our cities aren't getting hit by missiles we can't touch.
Yeah.
And that we're not dealing with night after night of, thousands of these drones coming in and hitting apartment buildings. Well, then that's a trade we're willing to make.
It's actually a really interesting point how a no-fly zone would massively protect civilians. Because as you're saying, the only way you get to the civilians who are 100 kilometers behind the front line is via the air. So a no-fly zone can be really aggressively protective of civilians. I can see that. Should we just hear a bit more from Mr. Tamiheri? I don't, like I said, I haven't pre-upped this. We'll see where it comes out. We'll come out of it naturally.
Ugly little contest on the ground, where people then start to become, the equilibrium starts to kick in. They refused to do that. The Yanks then started to fund both wars by delivering armaments.
Right.
They then did a dirty deal with Ukraine to take their ores.
Yeah.
Here into eternity,
Yeah.
to pay for what they were providing Ukraine, right? So the Yanks are always going to make money out of the rebuild. So I just want to posit that and put it out there because it's a fact. Second issue I want to raise about Gaza and Palestine is what does peace look like to Gazans and Palestinians?
Yeah.
That we're not being shot and bombed every day?
Yeah.
Is that the end of it? What is our life? What is our look? What does it look like in terms of being in the largest prison without barbed wire around me?
Right.
But now I am totally controlled by whoever. I'm not allowed to elect whoever I want. They're slaves.
Yeah.
So this peace deal is enslaved the Palestinian peoples. I just find it reprehensible, and that answers the question as to why Nobel Prize is a pointless conversation.
All right. I saw, in fact, it was on Blue Sky today. I watched some Owen Jones today. Do you know much about Owen Jones? I don't really know too much about him. A journalist.
Not a lot.
Doing a lot. I watched one of his pieces today, and it was basically about. It was a follow up, I think, to this tweet that he did. Hang on, let me give credit. Chaz messaged this or tagged me into this or answered one of the things on Blue Sky. This is Israel's defense minister declaring that Israel will resume its military onslaught against Gaza once the Israeli hostages are returned. Israel's great challenge after the phase of returning the hostages will be the destruction of all of Hamas's terror tunnels in Gaza. They speak like 3-year-olds. You've got to meet alliteration. You don't have to say terror tunnels. Good Lord. It's as dumb as Trump. Directly by the IDF. That's what I was saying earlier. So they want the IDF go in and blow up the tunnels, because that's a trustworthy group of people to get in there and do the right thing. And through the international mechanism to be established under the leadership and supervision of the US, this is the primary significance of implementing the agreed upon principle of demilitarizing Gaza and neutralizing Hamas of its weapons. I have instructed the IDF to prepare for carrying out the mission. Does that sound like peace? That's the Israeli defense minister. Does that sound like peace?
No, there is a benefit to Israel for this pause, and it's twofold. It's the obvious thing that they can turn around to their population and go, look, see, we did bring the hostages back. Actually, as an aside, I saw it mentioned, I must admit I haven't looked into this, that most of the living hostages that were handed over were captured IDF soldiers.
All right. I haven't seen that.
It's not really, there's not being a distinction made about necessarily when or where these hostages have been captured. They're not necessarily in the lot that was captured on October 7th. So yeah, the first thing is the government can sort of declare victory and said, we said we were going in to get the hostages and now we have. But the other part is to consider that the IDF has been engaging in house to house, street to street, quite high intensity operations now for over 2 years.
Yeah.
You have a lot of worn out equipment and worn out soldiers. What a great time to rest, rearm and refit and reposition for your next actions.
And the reports coming out of Israel at the moment about some of the IDF soldiers, and let's take one step away from what we think of the IDF and think of 18-year-old boys have the mental health situation, suicide, all these things through the roof once they get back from what they've seen and what they've been involved with. And like, if we can be human beings for a second, you can kind of understand that. Doesn't mean their actions whilst they're over, in the war zone, the Gaza zone, the kill zone, are any good. But the Israelis don't want this to continue on either, for other reasons. But they still don't. No one does. The Owen Jones piece, we won't play it. I haven't queued anything up. I watched 3/4 of it today. It's only for 15 minutes. Israel violates ceasefire and threatens more genocide. Actually, I'll just give you the first 60 seconds. If you don't know who Owen Jones is, I'm going to contact him, see if we can get him on. Just have a quick listen.
Israel's threatening to resume the genocide against the Palestinian people, even as the bereaved and traumatized and starved people of Gaza sift through the rubble of their destroyed territory to find the bodies of their loved ones. Israel-backed gangs linked to ISIS are attempting to foster violent chaos, and there are reports that Israel has already broken the ceasefire.
He talks about the tanks shooting
Israel
that you mentioned last night
exposes once
after
again
the ceasefire.
the absolute shameless racism which has defined this genocide. Let's start with Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, with an arrest warrant issued against him by the International.
He's very good. He's very good. He's well worth a watch. And he has his everything lined up. There you go. This is from the Defense Secretary, and he shows the piece of, is that it there? Oh, he talks about the soldiers and what they're doing and what actually is happening after the ceasefire. Actually, have a listen to this 30 seconds.
During the last so-called ceasefire. Now, even when the ceasefire was supposedly being agreed, as the brilliant drop site news report, Israeli soldiers celebrated it by launching an arson spree in Gaza, burning down civilian infrastructure, including an essential sanitation plant in Gaza City. They note testimonies of Israeli soldiers collected earlier this year by the Israeli journalist Yuval Abraham, such as one explaining, every Arab house we entered had olive oil. We poured the oil on the sofas, on anything flammable in the apartment, and then we ignited it or threw in a smoke grenade. This was a common practice.
So, that's who we're dealing with. So go check it out. Owen Jones, Israel violates ceasefire and threatens more genocide. So I know I said this last night. I'm eternally optimistic, and the reason I'm optimistic is for the innocents in Gaza. I acknowledge that there are innocents in Israel, and there are the people who will see from it, but the people who are the most vulnerable at the moment, the people who are a million times over more likely to suffer harm from this, are people who are currently refugees in their own country, about to have to clean up more rubble than there was in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I don't know physically how that's even going to happen. So I hope with everything in me, if I had more than 10 fingers, I'd cross as many as I could that this could lead somewhere, but I'm not confident. And I said last night, and I'll say it again, I don't give a flying fuck if this comes to a lasting and full peace and Donald Trump has had 1% say in it, and because of that he gets his Nobel Peace Prize, give baby his bottle, whatever. Lasting peace is the main thing that we're aiming for.
Look, on that comment of just how destructive the IDF has been, they've been systematic. They have disabled, destroyed and torn up water infrastructure, water plants, sewage plants, electrical infrastructure, roads. They've taken plows to just everything. They've ripped up crops. They have burnt everything. We've spoken before about the universities and the council record keeping, and all of that is gone. And it is a big part of why this is a genocide. So yeah,
because they're trying to eliminate the people, and then they're trying to eliminate the ability for the people to come back. It's a definition of a genocide.
Absolutely. And I feel, and I include our foreign minister in this, I feel that the people that are jumping up and down and sort of looking at people like you and I, Pat, and people on the left going, I don't know, it's good that people aren't perhaps getting bombed as much, but people are still being killed, and this doesn't feel like a fair peace. It doesn't feel like the Palestinians have been included in this. The UN's not there. It doesn't feel real good, but we'll see how we go. Meanwhile, Winston Peters is doing interviews on Al Jazeera and doing fucking victory laps and going, why is Chloe not thanking me for my tiny part in this? He apparently reckons that his actions have had something to do with this peace process. It is sickening to see him taking this tact. Like, we're too small to recognize.
I know interrupt sometimes, and I'm sorry for interrupting. What the fuck did he do? Like, honestly, what did he actually do? Even if it added that 1%, what was it?
Yeah, apparently by not recognizing Palestine.
Ugh. Okay, so that means they're going to do it now. Come on, we're waiting, Winston.
Yeah.
So you've had this big win. All the things you said. Yeah, now you can do it.
We couldn't do it in an act of conflict. Look, the other thing that has driven me absolutely batty in the coverage of this is Hamas is releasing hostages. Okay, they've always been called hostages. That's fine. I actually don't have a problem with it. It fits the definition of a hostage. Israel are releasing prisoners.
Yeah.
2,000 prisoners.
That Owen Jones talks about as well. Yeah.
2,000 prisoners, most of which have been held without trial, or very much a military tribunal kangaroo court with no jury, like something like a 98% conviction rate through their settler courts or whatever. And there's been no, like, I saw a clip of one of these prisoners or hostages that the Israelis have released, getting to meet his child, who was a little girl when he went into prison. He's been in prison for 20 years. Now, I was waiting for someone, any journalist, to go, I'm just going to run the math on that. October 7th, and then we go back further 18, 17 years. So again, when people have said this did not start on October 7th, that's what we mean. When the Israeli regime is black-bagging Palestinians into a prison without trial for 20 fucking years. And there's no mention of why he was there.
There were also reports today that most, obviously not all, but most of the ones released today were taken after October the 7th, specifically for the reason to have something to negotiate with. So obviously that's not all of them, but a chunk of them, the accusation is that's why they were taken hostage. And yeah, you're right, Chewie. It's this whole thing, and you said it last night about denouncing Hamas. And yep, now we started quite early on stopping doing that because, of course, terrorist acts gets denounced by anybody. But how about war crimes, them as well? Yes, of course, hostages should be free. But how about the other side with hostages? Never seem to get the same traction in the media. Like really only smaller independent commentators, people on social media with knowledge, people like Mehdi Hassan, who's obviously not small, but, is not mainstream media, were the only people that were ever really talking about not just these 2,000, but I believe the number was 11,000 hostages that Israel currently has out of Gaza in prisons with no trial or charge. Chewie.
When I see New Zealand outlets like Stuff and RNZ just repeating this language that is overseas, they've got to know better than this. Words are important.
Yeah.
And I think when it's something like this, where it's like, okay, Hamas aren't necessarily the good guys, but let's put this into fucking perspective. People are allowed to defend themselves. People are allowed to resist an occupation force. And then our good guys, the West's good guys, are they actually behaving like the white-hatted sheriff in a cowboy movie? Or are they questionable as well? Why don't we have the mental flexibility to actually just look at this and go, fuck, it's pretty strange that Israel has so many Palestinian prisoners on charges that we can't see, that didn't go through any civilian court. And even if they went through a civilian court, they're Palestinian. Why are they going through an Israeli court? These are the conversations that we need to be having, that our media need to be doing a much better job of going, hey, look, let's put Israel, Palestine, the two-state solution under a microscope so we can actually understand who is doing bad shit or what bad shit is happening. Because at the moment, there's a big chunk of the population that is just cheerleading their favorite team with no sort of objective analysis.
It is really that tribal team thing. It doesn't matter how bad your team is. It doesn't matter if they've become bottom of the table for the last 6 years. You still, hello Warriors fans, you still go for them no matter what. And it's the same thing. It doesn't matter what war crimes they commit. It doesn't matter how many children. We just go for them no matter what. It is really that sports team tribal nature coming out for no reason, because you happen to be born on this piece of ground that people before you had been born on and people after you will be as well, but only purely because of the idea that that's where you were born, then this is my team, they can do no wrong. It's pretty gross. It's pretty gross. Yeah. Let's get to some chats, eh? Gold says 431 days at most of these racists. JC sent a couple through. To say you want violence or to say you think it may be necessary are not the same. Yep, I think I backtracked on that a little bit, didn't I? JC also says, Warmai, you can't bomb the truth hoodie into a cafe today. Had 2 people ask / compliment it. Just wanted to share. Well, JC, I hope you said bhn.nz/shop. And then they can get their own. Because we are going to keep it in the store. We did wonder about doing it as a special, but it does seem very popular. So we are going to keep it in the store. But as you all know, 83 t-shirts, 25 hoodies, plus a donation from one of our lovely supporters. Let us donate $1,420 to. And look, when medical aid for Palestinians, could it be a better time, Chandler? Could it be a better time for it to be given to them? Because now they'll be able to get into Gaza and hopefully, should the ceasefire last, they'll actually be able to do some work without the fear, or quite the same fear, that the building they're working in falling down around them. I won't say with no fear, but maybe without quite the same fear. Kiwi says Maria Corina Machado, who won the Nobel Peace Prize, is with the Atlas Network, and she supports Israel. She wants Trump to invade Venezuela. Sounds like a lovely dinner guest. James Black. Sorry, James. I was just thinking the pick of destiny for some reason. Trump brought peace to Albania and Azerbaijan. Did you see them joking about that? How far apart are they really?
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. I'm not even going to say hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of miles apart. Peter says, I believe Israel traded 2,000 of their prisoners / hostages back. Do you want to speak to that? Because you started that comment. Is there anything? Or you already have?
Yes, yeah. And look, that's a tiny fraction of the amount of Palestinians that they hold in their detention facilities.
The number I heard Debbie say the other day, maybe even when she was with us, was 11,000. So I'm happy to go with that until proven otherwise. And Miss Hunter, Miss Hunter, Al Jazeera English interviewed Winnie for half an hour, and it was embarrassingly repulsive. I think that's his theme song, isn't it? Embarrassingly repulsive, isn't that Winston Peters' theme song? Oh, look, and you say the name, ching ching, and the man appears. One of those stories, Whānau, that I picked this afternoon for us to have a look at, but then, of course, because of the hostages being handed back in the Middle East and Te Pāti Māori having a lot of issues at the moment with Toitu Te Tiriti, this, honestly, it was about a 45-second story on One News, so we're not going to use any video. We can just have a bit of a chat about it. Shipbuilders for new Inter-Islander ferry announced. They're called GIS. Guangzhou Shipyard International will build 2 new Inter-Islander ferries. Will arrive in 4 years' time, the government has announced. Now, Chewie, if they've signed a contract, they know how much it will cost.
Mm-hmm.
I've just got my builder, booked my builder to build my house. He's going to take 12 months to do it. How much is it going to cost? Haven't talked about that yet. Of course,
commercially sensitive.
You know. Of course, you know. They haven't actually said that. The government revealed in March it would buy 2 new Inter-Islander ferries to replace the current aging fleet. The new ferries are expected to come into service in 2029. Finance Minister Nikki Noboats pulled the plug on the previous government's Cook Strait mega ferry deal named
Via text.
in
Mega
2023.
ferry. Hate that term. Just a new ferry, thanks.
The new ships would be 200 metres long and rail enabled, which meant rail freight could be rolled on and off them. So I ground some numbers today. I'll bring up my tweet so I've got it right to hand. Now, there is a really important word that Mr. Peters used today. And the word, Chewie, was actually, there was a really important letter that Winston used today. And Winston's speech can be brought to you today by the letter S. The use of the letter S was very important today by Mr. Peters, because he promised to save the country billions, with an S, of taxpayer dollars by securing GSI to build the ferries. The S is important on that word. Billions, that's multiples of a billion, which means at least 2 of them. You don't save 1.2 billion and call it billions. So Mr. Peters has come out and he's used the letter S today. And it's very important for a couple of reasons. And the quote is actually in here. We can show you if you want me to be checked. I can check myself before I rickety wreck myself. No, I'm not going to be able to find it. It's in there. Trust me. Go look at it yourself. Why are you making me do all the work? Selfish. And I'm actually going to be a little bit gracious to this government. The IREX blowout was up to $3 billion. Some reports said it could be up to $4 billion. So let's call it 3.5 billion, somewhere in the middle, 3.5 billion. Mr. Peters has said today he is going to save the taxpayers billions. So that takes your 3.5 billion down to 1.5 billion, because you've got to save a couple of billion. The sunk costs and the break fees have already cost us close to $700 million, like 680, 675, something like that. That means Mr. Peters, to hit his target, has $800 million. When we ordered the IREX ferries, they were going to cost 550. And that was in a time before the dinosaurs, when you could build something at a reasonable cost. Mr. Peters, to hit his target of using the letter S, billions, has to get 2 ferries, do 2 wharves, and all the infrastructure, Chewie, for about 800 million. And that's me being generous, because if we go to the 3 billion number, that drops to about 400 million. That's all he's got to hit the savings of billions.
Well, remember, they may still try to do a sneaky.
A private partnership or something?
No, well, see, one of the things with the massive cost blowouts of the mega ferry project is it wasn't the ferries.
No, yep.
The shoreside infrastructure, right? So when they shit canned that, and a lot of the shuffling of the project from there is they were going to try and push the costs of the shoreside infrastructure off onto the councils in Wellington and Picton, so they could get that cost out of this ferry deal that they were doing. Because if you're going to come around and go, oh well, the IREX was going to cost say $5 billion, all told, everything, all inclusive, and then I've gone and done a deal for not 3 ferries but 2 ferries from China, and it comes in at $1.5 billion or whatever, you can go, see how much money I sold. Are we going to talk about the shoreside infrastructure that we still need to do because Picton's wharf is like over 120 years old? No, we're not going to talk about that. I'm a genius. I've saved so much money. Everything else is user pays. Everything else is coming out of ratepayers. We're not going to talk about it. Thank you, job done. So that is what I think is going to come out of here. The other thing I want to mention is the shipyard. It's a very busy shipyard, Pat. Do you know why?
Why?
They're building invasion barges for Taiwan at the moment. It's a massive shipyard, but the People's Liberation Army Navy is doing a lot of their building there at the moment as well.
It seems to be a pretty, I don't think we can question actually the shipyard, like itself. It's been going since 1954, I think I read, so it's been around. It seems to do the job.
It's a huge shipyard. But yeah, I don't know. One of the things that I thought of when I heard it was a Chinese shipyard is what shipyard has the better reputation.
Yeah.
And the Hyundai shipyard has a stellar international
gold standard.
Track like gold standard. So
yeah.
I mean, this comes back to something that I've criticised Winston before. Like he criticised the talking about the shoreside infrastructure. I was saying they were going to build a Taj Mahal in Picton. This whole thing of
second-hand Corolla.
New Zealanders don't deserve nice things.
Yeah.
We don't have enough money. And again, it comes back to what we've been banging the pot about the whole time. Is we have the money. We have the means to get the money. We have low international debt levels. We have a class, a property owning class that is being undertaxed. And we are buying a long-term piece of infrastructure that is worth doing right. Do I think these Chinese manufactured ferries are going to have the same longevity? I think they have a big fucking question mark over them. And I think it's a question mark that we wouldn't have over them if we had the IREX ferry, which was designed for us, for our conditions and our requirements. I think this is short-term thinking, once again, from this government.
I just want to say, Chewie, we as a community right now, we want to say thank you to the ratepayers of Marlborough and thank you to the ratepayers of Wellington. because you guys are going to be fitting the bill for that wharf infrastructure. So for the rest of from the rest of the country, from the bottom of our heart, I want to say thank you. If you're a Wellington ratepayer and you voted for this coalition of chaos, and now your rates are going to go through the roof because of this new infrastructure, thank you. Thank you, white man in his 60s, for your vote. Just kind of spitballing there. The other thing, though, is I think I've just finally seen a really good reason, from a spectator's point of view, that Andrew Little is the mayor of Wellington. Andrew Little fighting this government over wharf infrastructure will be worth watching. It will be worth watching.
Yeah. The other thing I haven't really seen the media making a big thing out of is the IREX project was for 3 ferries, right?
I thought it was 2, but I'll Google. Keep talking. I'll have a look.
Yeah. I think it was 3. 2 initially and then a third one following. Winston's talking about 2. And we're going from 3 ferries to 2. So, I mean, from a redundancy point of view, that doesn't seem ideal. Especially if they're not rail enabled, which we haven't had that confirmed either. We think Winston will go for rail enabled.
The original IREX order was for 2 new ferries. However, the project has been cancelled, and the new order is for 2 different ferries to be built by Guangzhou Shipyard International. Now, that's just an AI scrape of Google, but that's what it says.
Okay. So yeah, there was always 2 ferries. I guess that they were,
but the difference is
capitalizing on the fact that they were much bigger.
Yeah, there were 2 ferries that probably would carry as many people and as many cars and as much packages. I can't think of the right word for that. I wanted to say stock because I've been working in a shop for so long at the moment. As would be 3 of the size that Winston's cargo. There you go, 3 at the size that Winston's ordering. So maybe your brain just got scrambled knowing the answer. Freight. That's something else. Thanks, Kiwis. What? Freight.
Yep.
Cargo.
I think the other aspect as well, and I think it was when we had that guy from the Maritime Union on.
Yeah.
The fact when we're talking about capacity and how much it can handle, how many passengers it can take, cars, freight, trains, the whole works. When you're making a decision and you're looking at it and going, well, are these IREX ferries too big? Do we really need that? Again, you're buying a piece of infrastructure for like 50 years. You have to kind of plan for growth, right?
And I'm pretty sure, I mean, we should ask them again. If Clint's watching, he'll set up an interview because he does work with them. And for the conditions, the bigger the ferry, the strait, the Cook Strait, is ferocious. There is a certain height that the swell gets to that stops our current ferries that IREX would have just ploughed on. Now, these boats are also going to come in smaller. There's going to be a diminishing return for the kind of conditions they can also travel in. So there's that as well.
Old Mr. Frodo over on Twitch says, true, the article Pat was reading from says that they're rail enabled. So that's...
Did you say, sorry, did I miss that? Did you say they weren't? They are.
They are rail enabled.
Sorry, I missed that if you said they weren't. My apologies.
So look, I am going to say that's fucking great that they're rail enabled. That is...
They're going to take one. They're going to take one carriage, but they are rail enabled. Isn't that what these guys do?
If there's something to salvage out of this whole debacle, is that they have decided to avoid the triple handling of goods going through the ferry. That is a good thing. There you go. There's some praise for the new ferry project.
There's one other good thing. I'm going to say congratulations to whoever did the graphics at RNZ. That's kind of a cool graphic behind Mr. Peters there, the panels. I quite like it. So there you go. There's another reason to be. Yeah, it's very good. All right, so let's get to some of the starred chats. Slavery, says Arvids. James, 2 ferries, no redundancy for maintenance and repairs. But I mean, I think it was going to be 2 ferries anyway. So thank you, James. Arvid says, elderly white men love a boat. Wooming says, also, instead of port infrastructure lasting 100 years, now will only last 50 years. Winston deferring costs until long after he starts pushing up daisies. I think technically he might have already started. I see sometimes a kind of a mold forming on him, so that might already be in the process. And it's in the ballot. It says it's not Wellington City Council ratepayers paying for the ferry terminal yet. It's Greater Wellington Regional Council, who is from Kapiti and Masterton to Wellington, who will be paying for the upgrades. We'll see. We'll see. If that's the case, if that stays like that, then we'll say thanks to them. So thank you, Regional Council ratepayers. We appreciate your sacrifice. Thank you for your service, for helping us build ferry terminals at your expense because of this government. We would have helped you under the last government, Wellington, Marlborough. We would have helped you. We would have contributed through our collective tax pot. But no, this government says Wellington wants to do this by themselves. Auckland, sit down. You know when it's at the end of the meal, everyone tries to pay? No. Oh, no, you're not paying. Put your wallet away, Auckland. Wellington wants to pay for the ferry terminals. Marlborough wants to pay for their ferry. Put your wallet away, Otago. No, Marlborough won't have a bar of it. We're paying. We've got this one. You can get the next one. It's basically what it is. But that's been forced on you by this government. So, kapai. I wonder, actually, in saying that though, Chewie, I wonder if anything could change should this government be a one-term government. I guess if there was a new government in, they could say, oh, yeah, we'll just take over the cost of the infrastructure. And that could happen. That would be a pretty good, election promise. Because that's what's going to happen. This government's going to try and claim that they're saving money because others are now paying for portion X of the overall job. Obviously, the terminals are the main focal point. So there you go, Chippy. There you go, Marama. There you go, Rawiri. If we get in, we'll take over the cost. It'll become nationalised again because it is a national road of significance. It's just a watery one. I see you have something to show us on the imagery.
Yeah, sorry, I got distracted because my ADD. I had Nationals page up on Facebook, and they've just dropped an abomination out. It's 18 seconds long. Shall we see their latest Facebook ad?
Let me just take my screen away, and then would love to. There you go, all yours, son.
It is horrific. I warn you.
Did you see that drift? I'm untouchable. Yeah, easy win. What? Right, guess it's time. I'm getting a job.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, so this is what we need to do, right? The next video we want to see is exactly the same video, but the kid needs to be in a wheelchair. And National needs to be pulling them out of the wheelchair and saying, go and get a fucking job, because that's actually more likely to be the 18 or 19-year-old that's being forced off the benefit. So how about we go there? Come on. This is the only time I will accept your AI slop, right? I'm happy to accept your AI slop. That, along with, what's his name? Mr. Brains, who had motor neuron disease, ended up in the wheelchair, died not that long ago. Have you seen all those AI videos of him?
Stephen Hawking.
Yeah. Have you seen all the AI videos of him over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah.
They're fucking hilarious. So I will accept your AI slop if it's what I've just described. Other than that, keep it away from me.
I have not seen a more densely packed layer upon layer upon layer of tone-deaf cringe for a long time. That was dreadful.
Need to find out who that kid is. He's obviously an actor. He's obviously a paid actor. I wonder.
It's not a real kid. It's AI. The whole thing's AI.
Oh, the whole thing's AI.
The whole fucking thing is AI. So National's enormous social media team has decided to shit out that masterpiece, which is obviously squarely aimed at their voters that can't tell it's not real. Oh, it's so dumb. I'm glad to see that National's cracking down on all the kids staying at home and not being on a job. They play PlayStation with a fluffy Labour mascot all day. They need to go work in the mines. Ugh.
It's definitely AI.
Are you looking at the comments, Pat? How's it being received? Not well.
So National Party says AI video, but real effective policy. Why? I haven't even pre-read these comments, so I'm going to just read them from the first 5 down. I don't know what they're going to say. I'll just read them. Why did you give an actual teenager some income and work experience for this video? Did that
call.
kid just walk through the table? Great advert. Telling people to get a job while putting people out of jobs because you're using AI. Yeah, it's a very good point. Parents can support them on 65k a year. That's not enough to support 3 adults in New Zealand. You're actively encouraging parents or on or near minimum wage to work less. This is, I don't know if you guys are clear on this, but I can explain this. To work less with your silly arbitrary cutoff point. Top will actually, this is from Top, young Top NZ. Top will actually support young people and work to provide jobs for them, not kick them in the dirt. This was creepy. Vote National out. There's a bumper sticker. Just this was creepy.
Going really well.
Like Muldoon Reds under the bed, 18-year-olds are adults and should be entitled to all the same benefits as any other adult. Please, for the love of God, stop. I think that's a good place for us to stop.
Sorry for the diversion, but
that's all right. But we'll just say because the whole, if you haven't picked up on this, people could work less. So Craig Rennie pointed out to us the other day, whatever the number is, 65,502, whatever it is. So therefore, if you earn 65,503, then within your household, if there's an 18-year-old who was on a benefit, they lose that $14,000. So therefore, the household income, for the sake of one extra dollar, loses $14,000. So therefore, if you are earning 65,000, what did I say? 502. Let's say you were going to go to 58,000, 68,000. I mean, sorry. So it's going to be like $3,000 more. It's actually better rather than you working more, working less and earning maybe 55,000, and then bringing the $14,000 from your kid into the community. So if you think about it as a household income, that's when it makes sense. You can work less if you want to keep your household income the same.
So if you're close to that, you go up to your boss and you go, I want to work an hour less every week, please.
E.G. Grant Wright. E. Grant Wright says, it was a brown kid. Of course it was. Do you not get it when we say on this show, sounds like Luxon's talking about a real specific person. If Luxon closed his eyes, what kind of person do you think he'd be talking about? Well, dollars to donuts. This is the kid he's talking about, right there. So that's the kid. Did you put Big Olby up there? Big Olby. I want off this coalition of chaos ride.
No, that's not what it says,
onto.
Pat. That's not what it says. It says, I want off this cock ride that I've been forced onto.
I don't see that.
Read it properly.
I want off this
cock ride.
I can't. Hello, dog.
Cock ride.
Hello, dog. Hey, I don't think you're supposed to be over here, mate. What are you doing? She's sniffing me. Stop sniffing me. What are you doing?
Oh, we've lost Pat.
Chewie, I'm in trouble. There we go. You all right, mate? Everything okay? Why don't you lie down?
Oh.
Ah, Chewie. Chewie wants off the cock ride that I've been forced onto. The blue guy's heavy breathing is gross. Really? Oh, sorry, I got to watch it again now. Was he heavy breathing? Was he heavy breathing? I didn't notice that. Let's have a look.
I want to see how much moose knuckles coming through that door in that morph suit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Where's the heavy breathing?
I smell poor people. There's no visible bulge on National, which is a blessing, I guess.
They're all smooth down there, like an action figure, like a G.I. Joe. It's nothing down there. They're all smooth. That's the most disturbing bit about what I just said. It wasn't what I said. It was the hand action. They're all smooth down there.
Oh, we noticed. Just like Luxon's head. There we go. Full circle.
Boom, boom, and then boom, boom. Perfect. Well done. If we were on the radio or television, we would have been taken off a long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look at this poll, and then we'll finish up with Te Pāti Māori. Oh, no, let's do Te Pāti Māori now because of the time. We want to give them the amount of time that we need to. So we'll do that first. Right, Nala, goodbye. That ad made Labour look like cool gamers. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And even to use AI generated, you know, I mean, I've just been doing the awards for the podcast awards, and we're going to put one out there for network because we've now got 3 podcasts. So we're going to do for the network. And at the end of the network entry, which I have to get finished tomorrow because it's due in tomorrow. So I've entered BHN, Locked Out, and the front line. And then I did a network one, and I'm going to do a best interview for the Rawiri Debbie show we did. Going to put that in as best interview. And at the end of the network one, I've put our credits, the credits we play at the end, and I say in the entry form, this is made by someone who watches us. We had a competition. They won money. This is not AI. We're driving money back into the economy. We're paying people. Because the more I think about it, I was just watching. You do watch 1000, eh? You and your missus.
Yeah.
1000.
Yeah.
1000 did a thing on a new. I think it's called Frisco. It's a new part of Adobe, the Adobe suite, and Adobe's AI suite guarantees it doesn't use users of Adobe's content to teach its AI. It uses their stock images and that kind of stuff to develop their AI, but not the people
Use
who pay
other
memberships
people's
for it.
work.
But they own them. They pay for the stock images, so that they actively say we won't, because they're worried about obviously people doing their art in I think it's called Fresco, and then worried that the artists will be thinking, oh, they're going to steal it for their AI. So they don't. They say actually we don't scrape any of that stuff for AI. I guess with your laugh, Chewie, you're going, can you trust them? But I think I will.
Yeah.
I think I'll choose to trust them.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Speaking of trusting, Te Pāti Māori, I got an email from, and forgive me, when someone emails me, I feel like I always have to say it because someone's taken the time to do it.
Somebody sent us a telegram.
Oh, was it Riwai? It was Riwai. He was probably in there. Riwai sent us a telegram last night because this email came out at like 10 o'clock last night. I read it after the show and I was like, woo! There are some fireworks tomorrow.
Yeah, talk about chucking a hand grenade in the spa pool.
And especially because they've chosen to remain quiet up until now, which makes you go, what's going on? John Tamihiri, Rawiri Waititi, and Debbie Ngarewa-Packer and probably others have got together and they've gone, enough's enough. We're going to share our side of things now, because it was a hand grenades about the right example, Chewie.
Back here, the infighting within Te Pāti Māori has gone up a notch after it released explosive allegations against one of its own MPs and her son. The details include a budget overspend by Maria Meno Kapakingi and claims of violent, racist and abusive threats from her son Eru. It's the latest salvo in an ongoing...
I was thinking about this today, right? And I think it's fair to say we really enjoy and support the kaupapa of Toitu Te Tiriti. Would that be fair, Chewie? I think because I mean, who wasn't on board for the hikoi? I wear their shirt fairly regularly. I'm for it.
The hikoi was a seismic shift in the political landscape.
In saying that, and in saying the support we have for that kaupapa, that community, we did say when out of it looked like nowhere, Eru came out and talked about dictatorial leadership and authoritarian leadership, like from the public's point of view, from nowhere.
Yeah.
Opened up this can. I'm not saying go suck on a egg now, but what I'm saying is that's when the can was opened a couple of weeks ago. And I don't know, maybe Te Pāti Māori is saying, time to close the can, because they haven't, when this email, I don't know if it's public. I think it probably is out there well enough because
it went out to their entire membership, so it is public.
Yeah. So it was interesting. It was fascinating to see the Toitu. I don't feel like talking about Eru because it's probably not just him. It's probably the leadership board of Toitu speaking through him, sort of thing. So we'll say Toitu Te Tiriti coming out so aggressively, and that the language that was used was really sort of, these fuckers.
Well, I don't know about this. this very much seems to me to be Eru. Like, yes, he's the front man for Toitu, but I just think it seems very personal. Like, to absolutely distance, like, if it was just, hey, look, we are not part of Te Pāti Māori, we're doing our own kaupapa, we've got our own mission.
Yeah.
Yes,
We said
of
that.
course we align, but we need to make sure that we're seen as a different entity.
Yeah.
I 100% endorse that position, but there was so much more than that in there. And of course it's going to come down to, well, this seems to be a response to your mum getting demoted. It seems personal, and it seems to be, at least to me, to be Eru rather than Toitu as an organisation.
I'm just looking at the website right now. I'm looking, do they have like a board? Are there, who are we sort of thing? I can't see one anywhere. I think this is the thing, Chewie. We've criticised Luxon so often when he talks about the appearance of, like when he used to accuse Labour of the appearance. He goes, like, it doesn't matter whether it's real or not, it's the appearance of that's bad enough. And on some levels, you kind of agree. What I hear you saying is this has the appearance of being very personal for the obvious reasons you've just laid out. So even if it's not, even if it is from the Toitu Te Tiriti like board, if there is one, and I'm sorry, I'm just ignorant whether there is or isn't. If there is like a board and this is coming from Toitu, then maybe Eru is not the right person to be sharing it because of that. Whether there is or isn't that that harm or that hurt, he might be the wrong person to deliver it. Unless, of course, that's all it's about. And I don't know. I mean, if you're a regular viewer of this, you know that me and Chewie, as much as we can, are passionately in support of both of these kind of groups and what they do. So it does feel a little bit like, you know, the whānau is fighting and mum and dad are fighting. We don't like it. We don't like it. We don't like it. Stop mum, stop dad. So yeah, it's
both groups need to get this out and just burn it out as quick as possible and get back on mission.
Yeah. All right, let's get back to the story.
Growing internal battle, political editor Mikey Sherman has developments.
Let's make some noise for these fellas inside Canada every morning!
As the government unveiled its budget in May last year, Te Pāti Māori and Toitu Te Tiriti led protest outside Parliament. It was also the day Toitu Te Tiriti spokesman Eru Kapakingi, son of MP Mariamino Kapakingi, allegedly tailgated through Parliament security, refusing to use his own Parliament access card. A letter Te Pāti Māori claims is from Parliamentary Services alleges Kapakingi abused security staff using vulgar language, racism and threats of physical abuse, allegedly calling a security guard a white bald head.
I don't know what the first word is, but I'm assuming it's white bald head. See you next Thursday. A fucking white head, white bald head.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
Fuck which white head? I don't know.
Adding, I will knock you out. The details surfaced overnight as part of a dossier.
Yeah, and just remember, Te Pāti Māori are the ones who have released this, and Eru's mum is sitting there in the caucus with them. So that's what I'm saying. This is literally mum and dad fighting. It's certainly family fighting out in public.
Of documents sent by Te Pāti Māori executive to its supporters.
I think it's really important to remind all the media that all the comms that's going out at the moment is actually intended for the membership.
It comes in response to allegations by Eru Kapakingi, a former vice president of Te Pāti Māori, of a toxic environment within the party.
It's very much a model that is a dictatorship model.
The dossier includes an email sent by John Tamihere addressing Mariamino Kapakingi's budget overspend by what he claims is more than $100,000. One News tried to speak to Te Pāti Māori today.
How do you respond to that letter?
Be a Māori, it's a great day to be Māori.
Oreni, what do you have to say responding to that letter that was sent last night to the members?
Nothing.
Is Mariamino fit to stay on as an MP, Oreni?
Last week, Mariamino Kapakingi told One News she made an adjustment for an overspend in her budget under the guidance of Parliamentary Services and Parliament Speaker.
And last week we said, I mean, that didn't sound like a particularly big deal. I'm sure MPs, like managers in the business, like sometimes get their budgets out and they correct it. Although $130,000, which I think is the accusation, that feels very different than oh, I shouldn't use the business card for that one.
Yeah, what's kind of implied in this letter is that Parliamentary Services have drawn attention to this budget overspend and listed a couple of options of basically you need to stop having staffing hours. You can't afford to pay the staff. You need to pay for it out of your own pocket if you want to continue like this, or you can pillage money from your upcoming budgets to cover the shortfall. But we need an answer. Otherwise, you know, we've been trying to draw your attention to it. If we don't hear anything, we're going to have to take it to the Speaker. And at that point, Samahiri's got involved and gone, right, well, we need to wrap this. We need to sort this. And I guess what's being implied here as well is that some of these funds may have been pointed towards Eru and the Toitu movement. So
honestly, I didn't pick up on that at all. I mean, as far as I know, there's been no explanation as to where those funds have gone. But
yeah, at the time, Eru was working in her office.
You're right.
So yeah.
Well, here's the
whether
other thing.
This is true or not, we don't know.
So the other thing, BB's Travels says here, perceptions are everything, Pat, and Te Pāti Māori are not looking united at all. Don't know if I agree with that. I think that Te Pāti Māori and Toitu aren't looking united at all, but they are different and separate entities. Obviously, Kapakingi here is under a bit of pressure within Te Pāti Māori, but I don't see it as Te Pāti Māori not looking united. I see it perhaps as two very, very important Māori influences from society not being united rather than one or the other amongst themselves. But yeah, let's get back to this because I explain a bit more about the, as someone said, not a rounding error.
Week, Mariamino Kapakingi told One News she made an adjustment for an overspend in her budget under the guidance of Parliamentary Services and Parliament Speaker, suggesting her budget affairs were leaked by her own party.
I don't know where else that information could have come.
Look, the truth will come out in the fullness of time.
The party's implosion stunning fellow MPs.
Any decisions that Mariamino would have made, I'm sure.
And this is where this public fighting harms overall on the left. And I have to say, I am disappointed in Chippy's response. Because why you would give fodder to Christopher Luxon to go, see, even Chippy doesn't trust them is, yeah. Especially when Marama and Rawiri in the last few days, couple of weeks, have gone, we want to work with Labour. We want to help get rid of this government. We want to be in government. And I won't front end it. I'll let you hear what Chippy says, but it's basically saying they're not ready for government, which is, I mean, like, if I'm being honest, whether he's right or wrong is not a helpful statement for the left in this current climate, when the right are trying to just paint the whole left as lunatics who shouldn't be trusted.
MPs.
Any decisions that Mariamino would have made, I'm sure, would have been with the approval of the Speaker.
Chris Hipkins should rule them out today. In fact, he should have done it yesterday.
At the moment, it's not clear how many Māori parties.
Yeah, let's just go back so we get all. I agree with you'll get fucked, but we'll just go back so we get all of Chippy as well. I agree. I concur and encourage you'll get fucked.
Have done it yesterday.
At the moment, it's not clear how many Māori parties there are at the moment.
All of our staff, all of our communities need to be safe from violence. That is something for Te Pāti Māori to answer to.
But once again,
see that there you go, perfect answer. Didn't get drawn in, didn't do anything. Was just if this has happened, this is an issue that Te Pāti Māori need to sort. Done. Conversation over.
Again, the party isn't saying much.
Thanks so much, you guys. Stay warm.
It's getting messier and messier. Now there are calls for a challenge to the leadership, Debbie.
Have a good day. Oh, wrong one.
As the problems just keep coming.
Right, we're going to go live to Mikey at Parliament now. Kia ora, Mikey. Any response from Eru Kapakingi on the release of these documents?
Well, kia ora tātou. One News reached out to Eru Kapakingi for comment. He has not responded, but in a social media post, he said that he joined Te Pāti Māori as a young man and learned a long, hard lesson that power can corrupt those you once looked up to. Now,
That would be called tripling down. That would be what that's called.
He hasn't responded specifically to these serious allegations of abuse and threats of violence towards those security staff. Instead, he said that he and his whānau will remain grounded and committed to kaupapa despite the noise. Now, One News also reached out to his mother, MP Maria Mino Kapakingi. She has not responded to our request for an interview, but she was also not in the House today. Also not in the House, co-leader of Te Pāti Māori, Rawiri Waititi. He is in China alongside his wife, the General Manager of Te Pāti Māori, Kiritamihere Waititi. They are in China on a kapa haka trip as part of a global arts festival.
Tēnei te mihi atu.
Now,
Thanks very much.
that didn't give the response from Chippy that I thought. I wonder if that was on 3. So, Chewie, why don't you pick up on it? And I'm just going to scroll through 3 story and see if Chippy's there to see if I was wrong. Because that basically wasn't what I thought I heard him say.
No. So you're probably thinking of the same clip that I'm thinking of that I saw in, I think in a Stuff piece. But in the Stuff article, it was exactly what I've warned Hipkins about. Is when making a statement, you don't want to rush to exactly the same place that Christopher Luxon is going to be. So I think the paragraph I saw in the Stuff article was Chris Hipkins and Chris Luxon say that Te Pāti Māori is not ready to be in government. Like they issued a joint fucking statement.
Let's just see if because I don't want to put wrong information out there. This is the TV3 item. I've just scrolled forward. Chippy's about to come up. Maybe this is where I heard it.
I don't. They're a long way away from being ready to play a constructive role in government. And the events of the last 48 hours have demonstrated that once again.
So that's the comment. Long way away from being in a position to form a constructive government. Not helpful.
I hate that statement. I think it would have been better for him to say something along the lines of this is an eternal Te Pāti Māori thing. Talk to them about it. This has nothing to do with Labour. What are you doing? Like to sit there and say that they're a long way from being in a place to add to government or that sort of thing. That long way away could be this time next year, if not sooner.
And then that comment will be playing on loop in by National and Act and New Zealand First.
That is already
which is the point.
Coded and shelved waiting.
Yep. Then the question is, even Chris Hipkins thinks that these guys shouldn't be in government. And look, I'll say it again. I'll be really honest. I don't know if this is the case or not, but even if they're not ready, that's still a stupid thing to say from someone who is going to need them in government. Now, if they're not ready, there's ways you can do that in government. You can be outside of cabinet. You can have ministerial portfolios outside of cabinet. No, you can actually set things up. I mean, let's be honest. Is Nicole McKee fucking ready for government? How about no? Like, do we want to play this game?
Yeah.
How about everyone? Okay, let's give Brooke Velden her dues and Mr. Seymour as well. What about the rest of ACT? Were any of them ready for government? No.
Well,
Casey Costello? No. There is ways of doing it.
If we're talking about ACT's rogues gallery, you really just have to go, well, it depends on the phases of the moon. And look, while we're talking about ACT, do we want to place a bet now? Like, start the clock. How long is this admittedly messy situation going to be in the news cycle? Yeah. Is it going to be in the news cycle longer than any discussion of Tim Jago?
Yes. 100%.
Yeah. So look, I think there's things that we all need answers to. We need to know that everything's above board. We need both of these groups, Toitu and Te Pāti Māori, to be back on mission as soon as possible. So whatever this is, like I wouldn't be like, would they release footage? I assume that there's cameras at the doors. Like, will we see footage of this interaction?
Well,
or do we just have a nameless
OIO? An OIO would be able to find that out.
A nameless security guard's version of the events?
I was just thinking OIO is the Overseas Investment Office. What am I thinking?
Official Information Act.
OIA.
OIA.
Yeah.
You know, there is legs to the story, unfortunately. And I think there are some people that are showing us the right way to do it. Martam are going, hey, look, here's the things that we need to worry about. You know, there shouldn't be threats of violence if that's what happened. People need to be safe at work. Excellent. Great. Fantastic. You know, that's a great thing to say. And then you've got Luxon's comments of like, well, it just shows Te Pāti Māori can't be trusted and they can't get their shit together. And come on, man, the National Party has had spills. You had Jamie Lee Ross kick off a National. So it wasn't that long ago that National was being the messy bitch in Parliament.
I just think that whole thing, and I'm going to say it again, even though I've just said it. Any one of these guys I'm about to bring up, you know, Nicole McKee is fucking number 3. Number 3.
All the talent, the depth in the talent pool of ACT is like, what, the first knuckle of your finger in a saucer of milk.
Karen Shaw. You know,
You're not saying, Simon Court. Mark
any
Cameron.
of these people.
Ugh.
It's good to see Cameron Luxon still keeping on a part-time job. Might need that after the next election, son. Yeah, so just both unhelpful. I just hope that Labor don't have this plan of trying to pitch to the middle. And because they're pitching to the middle, they've got to make sure that when the other lefties are a bit crazy, we better make sure we tell the people in the middle, yeah, we know they're a bit crazy. It's like, was it you last night who was saying people aren't trying to win votes?
Yeah.
Parties aren't trying to win votes.
They're trying to not lose.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to win.
Yeah.
And I think this is a really good example of that. V-Bunch says we should stop picking on Chippy. I'll stop picking on Chippy when he stops falling into these obvious traps where I can bully him.
Yeah. And look, you know, to be honest, Whānau, this is one of the reasons you do hang with us. I've seen some chats tonight talking about the left-wing echo chamber that this chat is. When the left needs to get a slap upside its head, we will give them a slap upside its head. When the right needs to be congratulated, which is very infrequent, but when it does happen, we will congratulate them. As I said last night, when all of those people out there on Twitter, on the Twitterverse, were saying, oh, look at these guys, can't even congratulate Trump when he brings peace to the Middle East. What they're saying is, if Chloe had brought peace to the Middle East, we wouldn't be congratulating her. Right? What they're saying is they're projecting that they weren't able to do that. Well, I know that some on the left will be in that court. I'm not. I don't speak on behalf of Chewie, but I guess what I'm saying is this show's not. And that was in my opinion, that was a bad statement by Chippy because, right? Remember, there's the because. It has the possibility of harming their chance for election in 12 months. He's just written an attack ad for ACT. That's why it was a bad message.
Based on current polling, there is not a world that exists where Labor doesn't need the support of Greens and Te Pāti Māori.
Yeah.
So if he's going to give attack lines to the government at this point, like that is fucking recorded, time coded, put on a shelf. We are going to see that clip again of Chippy going, Te Pāti Māori aren't ready. We're going to see that all the way through next year. And then he's going to have to backpedal on it. don't rush to jump on someone that you are going to need. Now, I'm not saying that you need to run interference for them. I'm saying don't fucking get involved at all. Just say it's an internal thing. It's got nothing to do with Labour. Just like Willie Jackson did to Ryan Bridge the other day when he was asked whether, and again, the national talking point to Ryan Bridge pipeline is a straight fucking line, because he was asking Willie Jackson, when are Labour going to rule out Te Pāti Māori? Nicola Willis, they need to rule out Te Pāti Māori tomorrow, today, yesterday, someday.
So if Labour rules out Te Pāti Māori, coalition wins the next election.
Yeah, so that's what they want.
It's as simple as that.
That's what they want. So is National going to rule out New Zealand First today? So far out from the election? No, of course not. So shut the fuck up. But the job here is to do exactly what the Greens did. Say something sensible. Don't add to the pile-on.
I want to say one more thing, then we're moving on. There's a bit of angst in the chat tomorrow about, this is too much, and stop being so critical. I'll happily put my hand up and say I'm really comfortable being far more constructively critical of the left than the right. And do you know why? Because I want the left to do better. I want the left to put themselves in a position in 12 months to win this election. If the right are off on the wrong direction and doing stupid stuff, I'll laugh at them. I'll highlight it. I don't want them to fix it because I don't want to see them succeed. I want to see the left win. And one of the things we will not do is we will not pander to the left for the sake of access or for tribalism. If it warrants kind of a bit too much, then it warrants it. And I do it because I want them to be better. Mostly do it to National and that because that's their only MO. It's kind of hilarious and they're pretty terrible at what they do. I don't want them to get better. I do want the left to get better. And they need to be not in an echo chamber of yes men. Basically, if we were just like, that's fine, he's just like, that is then an echo chamber of yes men, and that's not going to help Labour win the next election, or Te Pāti Māori, or the Greens. Chewie, I'm done.
I think we're pretty consistent on this. We're very pro left bloc winning the election next year. That's what we want.
Yeah.
It's their only option. But yeah, our criticism is exactly as Pat says. We want Labour to be better. We want them to be fucking fighting fit. And these sort of things of rushing to attack people in the Green Party, rushing to pile on Te Pāti Māori at that point. It doesn't help Labour. It doesn't help them. It 100% helps the government. So don't do it. Don't feel like you need to join the pile-on. If you think your statement is going to be anywhere adjacent to what Christopher Luxon is about to say when they speak to him next, don't fucking say it. You don't owe the media that. You don't owe the media anything. Be smarter.
The chat's continuing with saying we shouldn't be talking about this or whatever. And one of the reasons I'm still talking about it is because I'm wanting to explain to people our position. So I'll say one more thing here. You're doing to Labour what you say they are doing to Pāti Māori from Kiwi Skirt. We're not, for a pretty clear reason. We're media commentators. We commentate on the news. We commentate on the action of people in the news. They're political parties that need to work together. They don't need to work with us. We're on the outside looking in, commentating on what we see. That's actually our job. Not to comment on it, we would not be doing our job. Te Pāti Māori and Labour and the Greens need to work together. They need to help each other win. We're not writing the attack ad for ACT. What Chippy said is writing the attack ad for ACT. And it's not like ACT's gone, it's quite lucky we were watching Big HN that night because they gave us the idea to write the attack ad. We never thought of that. No. And the other thing is, not saying all of them, but we know some of them watch. And I hope some of them watch, so they get the idea that they can actually, that you can go somewhere in between having to throw them under the bus and going, oh no, we support it fully. Even that, you know, you don't have to always throw them under a bus. Okay, I'm going to not watch the chat anymore. If any more comments come in, I'm not going to answer them anyway about that. There's some starred messages though. We should get to those. Over Red Rover. Why is the National Guy mascot not at work?
Because he's doing home invasions.
Oh, that's right. He's at work. He's looking for brown people to throw onto a plane.
He's looking for young brown people unattended in their homes and breaking in.
I believe Luke is still upset about my corn conversation yesterday.
I'm still upset about that. It was fucking diabolical.
Talking about, really? I didn't think it was that bad. Big old B. I want off this Nats 1 ride. Better? LOL.
No, you haven't read it properly again.
No. Didn't I? Read it for me then.
I want off this Nazi ride. Better? Lol.
Nats 1. I'm old. Okay, last one says Big Old B. One-term government. Love you, BHN.
That's the mission.
Yeah. Te Pāti, Māori, the Greens, Labour, even on their worst days, they're a gazillion times better than the coalition of chaos we have. I think we all agree. However, they still have to get elected. I agree. I agree.
Remember when the Greens were being messy? And it was because their whole setup is to be incredibly transparent.
Yeah.
And we were like, wow, the media is really dining out on this, but it is because they are transparent. You don't see it in the other parties because they try to hide it away. Look, this could be very much the same thing with Te Pāti Māori. Like, get it out in the open, get it over and done with, get back on mission.
They're still going for it. If the Greens do a stupid, I expect Pat and Chewie to call it out. Yeah, we've done that.
Yeah, 100%.
Remember various Green Party members?
Are you new here?
Yeah, welcome.
Are you new?
Welcome to the show.
Look, this is the thing. On the left, we can acknowledge this. On the right, you have to cheerlead and they can do no wrong.
That's an interesting comment, though. I don't think I put it up. I won't put it up. That's an interesting comment because that's implying an amount of bias.
I didn't see it.
I didn't put it up. I don't want to put it up. It doesn't matter. I'm not trying to bring shade, but the reality is if what someone's suggesting is that we would say it about Labour, we wouldn't say it about the Greens, and that's suggesting that we have an element of bias. And we have a bias to the left, and I think we have a preference for a party to vote for. But we have called the Greens out before, lots of times, and we'll continue to do so. And Te Pāti Māori, I think today's an example of maybe not calling out because we're not sure whether they've done anything wrong, but certainly not hiding. Like this topic, like if you're on a Pile of Pancakes show tomorrow, this topic will be the biggest topic of the day, the Te Pāti Māori thing, because if it bleeds, it leads. And many on the right would expect us not to talk about it because we'd be hiding away from it. We're not. We're front-footing it. So even though I don't think we've been critical of Te Pāti Māori, we've talked about the topic where others will be, I think in a smarter way. Speedlock Chippy then goes on to say, closer to the election, we will see how parties handle issues between now and then. Yeah, but if that's all he had said, that would have been fine, you know?
That would have been the comment to make, yeah.
There was a party who had a press and Jago was his name. Jageo. Jageo. I'm doing the E-O. Jageo and Jago was his name. Right. Last story. This is actually a story without any video. So let's video audio. Let's have a look at it. This is the Taxpayers non-union did a poll. We'll have a look at the results shortly of that poll. But one of the things they looked at was a quarter of Te Pāti Māori and 1 in 5. I wonder, is that 1 in 5? Is that because that sounds smaller than 1/5? Because they've rated Te Pāti Māori as a quarter, and they've rated ACT 1 in 5. Does that sound to most people like a lot smaller than a quarter?
Are you saying the Taxpayers Onion is not being above board?
I actually don't know.
Slimy wee sleeky wordplay. I don't think know, they are.
Because I love maths, and to me, I know exactly what they're saying. But to the average public, answer this in chat. I might start reading it again. Does 1 in 5 sound hugely smaller than a quarter to people? Because it's margin of error difference. You know, a quarter is 25%, 1 in 5 is 20%. So basically the same number of Te Pāti Māori and ACT voters say violence may be needed to quote-unquote fix New Zealand. A new Taxpayers Onion poll reveals worrying levels of support for political violence across the political spectrum. 1 in 4 Te Pāti Māori voters and 1 in 5 ACT voters agree that New Zealanders may have to resort to violence to get the country back on track. I wonder if people who believe that, I wonder if they close their eyes, what do they see? Like what's the violence they're thinking about? Do you know what I mean? Like, what are they seeing January 6th and storming the Capitol building? Like, what are they seeing that this violence is needed to get the country back on track? Younger New Zealanders are far more likely to back political violence and less likely to have friends with different political views than older generations. I think that probably hasn't changed, though. I mean, you just think about, for example, 1981. People you saw on the front line there were mostly younger people. Yeah, mostly younger people.
It's just normal behaviour for those sort of age groups. Yeah.
Yep. Taxpayers Onion Executive Director Jordan Williams said it's alarming to see that so many New Zealanders think violence might be justified to, quote, fix the country. This isn't a fringe issue anymore. It's a massive red flag for the health of our democracy. Younger people are not only more open to violence, but they're also less likely to have, we just said this, why are you saying this again? Who see the world differently. The kind of political isolation breeds extremism. It is frustrating
it's
that
Williams. He
I
loves
also
the smell
wonder
of his own farts.
Let's go back to 1981. Right, we're back there. I wonder if those guys on the front line of the Springbok tour, the guys wearing the motorbike helmets, seeing off the bed, I wonder if they had lots of far right wing friends. I suspect not. So again, is this just history repeating itself? Like, I think I'll get to the end of the article, then I'll tell you what I think. It's frustrating that having had staff receive death threats and direct intimidation, welcome to the real world, as Mr. Peters said the other day, the police take absolutely no interest. It puts off good people from participating in public affairs, although for some, that is the very purpose. We should not have to wait for a tragedy for the police to get their act together. What are you evoking? Do I hear a little Charlie Kirk evocation in that? Is that what you're saying? It's also time for party leaders to take responsibility and tone down the rhetoric before it escalates further. Democracy depends on debate, not intimidation. Once people stop talking to each other and start seeing violence as an answer, we're in real trouble. So here's my question. I wonder if you looked historically speaking, like I would suspect in 1913, 1914, there would have been a higher proportion of people who thought violence was the answer to get to an end. Probably the same in the 1940s, probably same in the 1981. I wonder if there's cycles of this where it's been more prevalent in some of the times and then less prevalent in others. Are we going through one of those cycles, or is this genuinely a new thing, Chewie?
Jordan Williams is a furry. He has a debt monster fursuit that he keeps at home. Look, I think this is. Does it say the dates of this survey? Has it come out since Charlie? Was it done since Charlie Kirk?
It was the actual poll here. If I bring the polling up, which I'm assuming is the same polling, down the bottom. I think it's the last week of September, first week of October. I did actually look. Here it is here. Between October 1st and Sunday, October 5th. There you go. So yes, after.
Okay.
This was only done last week.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay. So there's a reason. Look, I wonder. Jordan is also responsible for a whole bunch of AstroTurf groups that have just muddied the political discussion landscape. So his whole thing of like free speech, this and just let's have an open debate is just facetious bullshit. And if we want to be worried about the potential for political violence, shall we just start cross-referencing people that are pro-act, going into comment sections and saying that they're locked and loaded if the Māoris are coming for their farm, and then cross-referencing that with how many of them are actually firearms holders? Like, I have seen some comments that, like, if it was under a real person, if it wasn't some pseudonym that they're using on Facebook, would absolutely concern me enough to contact the police and go, you need to go and check this guy out. He's making actionable threats online. Yeah. And they all seem to be from the right side of the spectrum that I see. And they're all talking about firearms. They're the ones that didn't want Jacinda to take the guns. You know, all of this sort of nonsense. If we were to distill this and get all of the taxpayer onion fluid off it and the stink of Jordan Williams off it. Ultimately, it comes down to a nothing thing of like, political violence is bad, no matter who it comes from, right or left, young or old.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the way that he's used the language in this press release, the timing of a question that is talking about political violence after Charlie Kirk, this is fucking transparent. We've had political violence. We've had political violence. We had the fucking anti-COVID thing ended up in political violence. It's already happened.
We've always had political violence. Dawn raids, political violence. Like, that's what I'm saying. Is this a new initiative? Is this a new thing? Is this a cycle? Or is this an always thing? And look, I mean, I don't know if I agree with, people say words of violence, but people often talk about how you treat the most vulnerable and the people like that in a negative way. If you harm them, it's a form of violence as well. The right's very good at doing that. Putting people in a situation where they can't survive. I don't know. I mean, I just as I think about all the times there's been political violence all over the world and in this country, it doesn't seem to be a new thing. So I wonder if he's picked up on the cycle of things right now, to do a poll right now that at certain stages in the history it would have given exactly the same. Like imagine in 1942, Chewie. Do we need political violence to bring an outcome to save the Western world? 92% of respondents say yes. It's like, so.
Do you know, so cut out lone wolf, assassinations and stuff like that. If you're talking about like a mass movement of political violence, traditionally, historically, that comes from a tipping point where people feel like their government is either absolutely not listening to them or absolutely coming for them, and it comes from a position where people think they have no other option.
Yep.
Left or right, it doesn't matter. If the government's actively persecuting you, yes, you'll go on the attack. If life is so hard and desperate, then overthrowing a government is the only way out, then they'll do it. Do I think New Zealand is there yet? Absolutely not.
Yeah, here we go. I mean, look, I was going to say, Destiny Church is a violent political group. So the one thing I'll kind of disagree with you on, I know we're talking about maybe New Zealand, but this is the other thing that each time someone brings up, like, because what they're basically saying is the political violence is 50-50, like 25% of this party and 20%. Yeah, but we got to remember what the stats say. The stats say, and this is an American stat, 3 out of 4 extreme political acts of violence come from the right, not from the left. I mean, Chewie, if we wanted to start up to add up like individual violent acts, how many would we have to add to the right from the Wellington protest? Literally thousands, tens of thousands. Like if you wanted to do the number in New Zealand over this this century, I think the right would probably go to show exactly what this is showing, that political violence sits more comfortably on the right than the left.
I'd also say if there was a place for political violence, like we had the Hikoi.
Yeah, peaceful.
It's somewhere between 12 and 112 people and 120,000 people turned up and marched peacefully. Not a single arrest in that march. I think there was one arrest on the outskirts of it, which was a counter-protester. They cleaned up after themselves. Like, if we want to talk about, the intolerant left, we don't see it here. We don't see it.
But what you're saying is we don't have to stop there. I mean, how many protests, if you wanted to then add up, if you want to do a column of left versus right, add up all the protests, all the actions. So for 100 weeks, there's been protests all over this country from the left. Every single weekend. There's been massive marches to do with Gaza and Palestine. Nothing. When I start to look at the right, look at Destiny Church going into a library. Look at the actions at the government house, at Parliament. Look at the Christchurch mosque attacks. on and on and on. So I just don't think that, parihaka, just don't think that we can go, I don't think that we're going to play the game or allow them to play the game of, this violence is worrying and look, both sides equal. This is like the both sides argument when you're talking about climate change or anti-vaxxers and you have two people participating. When really, if it was anti-vaxxing, you should have 19 scientists on one side and one on the other. And for climate change, it's probably 9 on the other and 1. That would be a fair synopsis of where society and those expertise actually sit.
Anyway, just to underline everything, Jordan Williams is a twat. His organisation is a sham, an Atlas AstroTurf generator, and we should roundly ignore anything he has to say because there is always... Jordan Williams is either inside that debt monster costume right there,
or has been inside it, or has been inside it several nights in a row. Yes? Yes.
I was getting there, Pat. I'd like to say that I would have had a more poetic turn of phrase, but I can't guarantee it.
I stricken my comment from the record. Go.
You heard it here first. You heard it here first. Pat Brittenden says that Jordan Williams fucks that costume.
I didn't use that
There
word.
we go.
It's interpretable.
It's quoted. It's quoted.
It's interpretable. He's either in that costume or he has been inside that costume numerous times. That could be wearing it.
That costume has been inside him.
Okay, so now there's this line. There's a line, and you've just that's on you. Any legal letters written, it's CHEWIE, and you can deliver them to Mike Hosking at News Talk ZB. That's where you'll get them. Okay,
and I think we need to have a clear delineation here. Inflatable frog mascot costumes, awesome. Taxpayers Union debt monster costume is a war crime.
Is it a war crime or is it an ethnic cleansing? Come on, let's get real about this. Which is it?
Look, if we're going to get real about the question, do you think the debt monster costume is anatomically correct?
I've never met a debt monster in real life, so I don't know if that mimicking debt monster is or isn't. So,
okay, I think we're starting to lose people with this.
Okay,
more than we lost people about your story about the corns.
I hope we didn't lose people. That was the first story of the night. I'm just looking up the anti-fascist frog for you, just for the
frog
shits
watch.
And giggles. Frog watch.
Night 2.
All right, team. I'm not here tomorrow night. So I'm just hearing all the cheers. And Emily will be in with you, running the show. Frog
that's
power.
Why we're getting all the gross shit out of the way now because I'm on best behaviour.
Yeah, you can't talk gross things with Emily, mate. That's just not on. That's not allowed. That's
She's a married woman.
Yes, and she's young and she's impressionable. Just best behaviour. And I say that now in my head. All I can think of is her going, "Fuck you, bomber." So it's not that impressionable, really, to be fair. And then I'm back Thursday night. I might be back, might not be. We'll see how it goes. Anything else for the night, Chewie? Anything else you want to tease?
No, I think I've done enough. I think I've done enough.
I think you've done more than enough. Okay, team. Hey, thank you for tonight. Appreciate you all. Love you to bits. There's some super chats. AKA the cat. I'd just like to point out, if I may, not a fucking union. Thank you for your super chat. The NZSIS has a good report on current threats. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Peter. And Arvid says, why does the Detman monster look like it's about to burst? Oh, man. See, just...
No, about to bust.
No, bust.
Because it's busting.
Sorry, I can't read. I'm dyslexic.
Sorry, everybody.
All right, team. We apologise. Sorry. We'll just leave saying sorry.
Sorry, everyone. Sorry.
We are
sorry, Labour.
Sorry, Labour. Sorry, Chippy.
Sorry, people that. Sorry, furries.
Sorry, furries. Sorry, Jordan. Oh no, not sorry. No.
Help us settle a debate, whether it be thoughtful or funny, even if we're all creatures of hate. It's a fine line that we're walking together. For better, push aside the temptation to berate. Chinny chin chin. When the news that we're watching is hairy, knowing all the things that we need to be wary of. Like the rich have the hand out for rewards, while the many have to work out what they can't afford. And the rest of us ain't paying attention, or maybe have questions.
Should that say sweet moments or sweat moments? Do you know which one? Is it? No? Okay, sorry.
Sorry, everyone.
Sorry. Sorry. Sorry, Big Ol' B. Sorry. Sorry, Kiwi Skirt. Sorry about that. Sorry, Luke. Apologies in advance. Sorry, Moonlight. Southern Moonlight. Sorry, I got your name wrong. Sorry, Dragon. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Gary. Oh, Gray. Sorry, I got your name wrong. Nothing else from me, Chewie. Anything else from you? I'm done.
No, I'm done.
Hooroo. Sorry.
Spent.
Bye. Sorry.
No, nice.
Sorry. Sorry, Jeremy. Sorry about that, Jeremy. Apologise. Sorry. Sorry, Nala.
No.
I didn't mean to go. Sorry, Nala. You can lie down. Stay there. Sorry. Sorry.